Hello everybody, my name is Ashley Doss and I will be completing the second half of Chapter 10, the Chapter 10 presentation. So the first half was completed by Carly Prendergast and I hope everyone understood and enjoyed it just as much as I did. The second half is more going into more in depth of the little free library itself and the field work that was completed during. Carly's part went more into the theories that were behind the research, and so my part will be more of the recent research that was completed with the little free library. So first to start off with is that there are two themes to the little free library, which was the suasive potential and the ordinary things of worldishness that was apprehended through the circulatory intensities that constituted the free little library. So the books that were chosen and how she, for each day of the month, she would put in another book. So the author arranged the books orderly, tried to do from tallest to shortest, left to right, in order to keep it organized for those who wanted to take a book or exchange a book or whatever people would do. So she saw this as kind of important. She wanted to be attractive to the readers and show that this is just as important as any bookstore or anything like that. She wanted to distinguish her books and make it look presentable to her audience. And also nobody wants to read a book where you can't see the spine, you can't do this. So she wanted to make sure that it was easily accessible, and that was definitely important in her research. So it was definitely important to have organization, and that was one of the key components that the author put into her field notes of the free little library. So the one main point about the chapter was the normalcy, the circulatory normalcy. So this means like how quickly the times can change and how relevant each book in the little library can be. So you don't want to put something that is completely irrelevant and not with the times, because no one will want to read it. And the point of this research was to get people to be exposed to books that are relevant and important to those who want to read them. So this was definitely something that the author needed to take into consideration. Obviously, everyone wants to read something with the times. So the author stated how quickly time can change and worried that the book selections wouldn't be desirable. And that was something that he definitely had to take into consideration because you want to read something that you have relevance to. And so there was also a worry about how long it would take for people to replace the books. And I think the longer it would take, the worse that the results would be, because you want your books to just constantly have a flow. And he wanted to make sure they were desirable so that people would take and then bring back books, and it would just be this cycle of new and with the times kind of books. So the author also didn't want to burden the library with the books that he chose. He obviously wants to appeal to his audience and the people that would be taking these books. So this causes him to contemplate adding DVDs, because that would be a lot more attractive to people, and I think it would bring a lot more attention to the library and all the things that it has to offer. So the next part is the constitution and attunements to worldishness. So you've probably heard these terms from the beginning from what Carly went over. So into this, the author, when going to the library, saw these three individuals, two men and a woman, by the little library. And she noticed that their clothes were a little bit dingy, I guess you could say. So they were probably from out of poverty, probably homeless, but still wanted to know what their feedback was of the little library. And when she went over to them, she didn't realize how much the little library had affected them. They were extremely happy to have this experience with the books. Obviously, they don't have the resources to have books or to read or in the situation that they're in. So this little library was definitely something that they enjoyed, and it brought them very much lots of happiness, excuse me. So this was definitely a positive result from the little library that the author took great enjoyment and fulfillment out of. So they stated their happiness for the library's existence in the first place and thanked the author for providing that joy and how important it is for them. And these disclosures of worldishness shape perceptions, situate readers, and magnify intensities. And so that was very important for the author to take into consideration. So the library has potential, and this the author stated, to support local economies for the unhoused, especially like those that she interacted with, because this little library can be a mechanism for obtaining free goods to sell. So this is a resource for them to make a profit and just to overall have a positive experience from this little library. And this is something that the author hadn't even acknowledged in the beginning and didn't think that this would even be a factor. But after talking to these people and realizing that they actually took enjoyment out of this little library, this opened up a whole new set of ideas and results that could aid in the research. So basically the last part of the chapter is studying the rhetorical situatedness of the library. So the circulations of which the author put into the library they could include weather, weather patterns, like animals, non-human organisms, sounds, objects, other humans, and practical activity of one researcher to other patrons. So, like I said before, the author wanted this to be something that everybody could be a part of, not just a certain set of people, and it just be diverse. And that's why the author, from the research, took a lot more out of what they expected to. So, the author's rhetorical situatedness changed because of the library and being exposed to the diverse circulations that either the author put in or received from people exchanging the books. It definitely changed her perception or his perception, and it formulated a lot more research and new ideas for the future. And the scope of research questions the methods and expanded the way that these people did, took this information and made it it had a lot more positive results than what was really expected. And it really aided in the community, and that's something that the author obviously wanted, but didn't realize just how much of an impact that they were making. So this was definitely a positive experience, and I've personally seen little libraries like that around my neighborhood, and I think it's a wonderful idea to open people up to new books that maybe they haven't heard of it before. And in the chapter, one of the individuals that the author interacted with said that they had never read The Three Musketeers and thought it was about a robbery. And the author hadn't actually read the book, but obviously knowing that it wasn't about robbery and knew it was about swordsmen, kind of found this interesting, because something that could be so commonly known to others, and then for some, they have no idea. So this definitely opened up just a whole world of circulations and books that people don't have the resources to have, and how impactful the library can be to open their minds to new books and new experiences. So that is my half of the chapter, going more into the library itself. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got a lot out of this presentation and the new terms that we introduced to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. So thank you so much.